Guys, let's talk about Optimism, or OP on the ticker. Just wanted to show you that this trend line has basically held us down since the end of March. As you can see, we had a touch here in May, we had a touch here in July. We did break out here in August, and you can see that we did hold this. Let me zoom in here for you guys so you can see it really well. And well, we may have broken down here on the 27th of August, but we did quickly recover. And so far, we are maintaining that trend line. We haven't fallen back down. You know, if we were to fall back down into this trend line, we'd have to fall under $1.15. I don't think that will happen. We are starting to break above, you know, an area where we've been since beginning of August, really, with the exception of these few days. So it's looking better for Optimism. If we look at the long term, even, you know, we were below here, and yeah, I mean, we really haven't spent a lot of time down here since, well, before really December of last year. So you know, I think to get really bullish here on Optimism, we're probably going to have to break up to about $3. That would take out the majority of the trading that we've been in since really April, and basically before Christmas. So there wasn't much trading, I think, up here. And you can see, guys, we've fallen really far. I mean, we were almost at $5 with Optimism, you know, at the peak. So yeah, I mean, this is not good. We're at $1.55, but Optimism is still one of the premier projects in my book. I actually have a large amount of Optimism. It's my wife's largest bag, by the way. So I really believe in this project. I think it's going to do very well. You know, and we just have to get above this trend line. As I can show you here, this trend line has pretty much kept up Optimism from the beginning of time, you know, in Optimism's life. So basically, this started around end of June. It touched here in July. It got a touch here in June of 23. It fell through it for a short time here in October of 23. And yeah, guys, I mean, we touched it here in June of 24. We were riding it basically the rest of June and fell through basically in July, guys. Now, we did get it back above it in the middle of July, but we could not hold it for very long. Keep in mind, this is the daily chart, guys. So yeah, I mean, we've been under this until 22nd of August, and now we're finally... Oh, sorry, guys, I'm looking at the wrong trend line. Yeah, we haven't broken above this trend line. That's what we need to do. You can see that we did get a rejection at, you know, the end of July here on the 27th of July, 24. And yeah, that's going to be the most important thing, I think, to cross. We do have a weekly resistance up here at about $1.70. We have another weekly resistance up here at about $1.84. And if we were to deal with this trend line today, it would take place at about $1.87. So I don't think we're going to surge 30 cents today. I think it will be a slow grind up, but we'll see. Everything depends on Bitcoin, really. Now, if we take a look at Bitcoin, let's see. Let's see if this chart really refreshes. Sorry, guys. Some reason my charts do this, but Bitcoin is basically around $57,000 at the moment, as you can see. Oh, 57.1. So yeah, we have surged up a little bit since I made my last video 15 minutes ago about stacks. So yeah, I want to point out that this can be a double bottom, guys, and basically we have equal lows here. So this is good, to, you know, technically for us. And yeah, we are getting a green candle right now. We'll see if this can hold, guys. It's still very early in the day. This is the daily time frame once again. But you can see I did, you know, point out yesterday that we had the top of this Fibonacci and we have this trend line very close. I wasn't sure if we were going to get there and, you know, punch through it. At the time when I was speaking about it, we were about $500 away from crossing over, you know, into this trend line. So you can see we crossed over it, guys, and still could not hold it. Now, I don't think that's going to hold very long. I do believe that the economic numbers we're going to see this week will propel us. Now, today is kind of an empty day. There is Fed Vice Chair Barr speaking, but I'm not sure what he's going to speak about or if he will speak, because I think there's a blackout period. And I read that somewhere else. But yeah, I'm not sure if they're able to speak this week. Now, tomorrow, if we click on this, it is CPI day. So very important numbers coming tomorrow. If we look at the rest of this week, we do have on Thursday jobless claim, PPI. So we have all of these numbers, very important. Friday, we do have Michigan expectations and consumer expectations and sentiment, all important for Bitcoin. But I would say this is the third most important day this week when we're comparing with PPI and jobless claims and CPI. So these numbers will affect the interest rate cuts. Now, if I go to the next chart here, I will show you that the great majority, this is March actually, I'll get into that in a minute. But in September, basically the great majority still believe in a quarter-point cut. And, you know, there is still a sizable amount believing in a half-point cut. But everything really depends on these numbers this week with CPI and jobless claims and PPI. So, you know, I think there's going to be a quarter-point cut for the next, you know, several meetings. January, guys, I'm in the camp that I'm down here at 4.25 to 4.5 if there's going to be a cut. Now, why I say if, I think Powell might reevaluate everything for a few months, come back in and, you know, maybe even start making bigger cuts, maybe half-point cuts, or, you know, because people expect 3.5, 3.75. So that's, you know, we have to have some sizable cuts, basically. But I just don't know if we're going to go down that fast. I think if we go down that fast, the economy will panic, and that's not a good thing either, guys. So we'll see. I don't want to speculate too much here about, you know, interest rate cuts. The only thing I'm pretty certain on is that we're probably going to get a quarter-point cut here in September, and I still believe November and December will be quarter-point cuts. But we have a lot of data coming out before then, too. We have PPI, CPI all the time, you know, PMI. Yeah, so we'll see, guys, when the time comes. Now, if we look at the crypto fear and greed, basically we're at 33. Yesterday it said 26. Now, I think Binance had 29. So I'm not sure why they have different, maybe they do their own little fear and greed index according to Binance users. But we are just in fear now. We're not in extreme fear, but fear. So that's good to see. As I pointed out in, you know, the last video I made on stacks, you know, we really haven't been down here since last year in September. You know, it took a pretty big crash to get us down. And, you know, you can see that we've been here basically since June, July. But I do think that we are about to go on a surge upward here, you know, shortly. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow or the next day, but we're going to be on a slow ride up, you know, to this area again. I think we'll be in the 70s and 80s before you know it. And yeah, people are going to be in shock when Bitcoin, you know, surges up to $80,000, $90,000, you know. My number for Bitcoin is still, I think, between at least 80 would be a minimum. But I think that would be if we have really bad conditions. But I think it could go up as high as 120. And if we have, you know, really, really, really the best conditions, 150. But from what I'm seeing with ETFs, I just don't think we're going to surge to the 150. Now, that was taking into account ETFs at the time when I made that prediction. So I think 120 is the top, really, guys. Now, if we look at the whole crypto space real quick, I just want to show you these bubbles for the top 100. We do have a few more reds here, but they're probably going to be usually the projects that are just not so good. You know, like here you have HTX. I actually held this before. I made my first video was on this coin, and it had like over 1,000 views really quickly, guys. So that's why I started doing this. I don't get so many anymore, but you know, it doesn't matter to me, guys. Anyways, I think if you go through the crypto bubbles here, top 200, 300, 500, doesn't matter. you're going to see very similar, just a few reds, but mainly the better projects are going to be, move quicker. For example, FET or Optimism, like this video is on. Render, great project. GRT, Phantom, so a lot of these better projects will be surging before some of these others. So keep that in mind, guys, when you're looking, if you want to buy some new coins. Now, you don't want to buy it if it's 30-40% up in one day, but keep it in mind, like if it's only 7% up, it can still run. Maybe it'll run 20-30% in a day. So Stacks, for example, up 8.5%. It's a great project. So things like, I don't know, what do we have here? Well, what is this project over here? I'm not even sure what that is. Oh, it's USD. That's a stable coin, guys. So, I mean, okay, I do have Kronos, but it's really struggling. So you don't really see anything moving with Kronos. Or, yeah, BTT. I mean, this is another coin that I just think it's useless. So that's minus, guys. FTN, I've never heard of this one. It's not FTX coin. So, anyways, I don't want to get into too much here. I don't want to make anybody angry and they say, oh, that's my project. Cardano is a great project and it's red. Anyways, if you like this video about Optimism and Bitcoin here, let's see what Bitcoin does here in the coming few days. And that will really, affect the market and Optimism as well. So, and I'm not talking about, fear and greed or this type of optimism, for the market, but I'm talking about Optimism, So anyways, guys, thanks a lot. If you like this video, like, subscribe, activate the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.